Hey everyone, welcome to a little Q&A video I wanted to make because I hit, was it 200k? Phoebe, no! 200k subs. Yeah, I hit 200k subs. I cannot believe it. I was like, I don't know what to do. Do I need to make like a little video? What should I do? And then I saw my friend Martz she's also a YouTuber. Definitely check her out if you don't know her. I feel like we're very similar in style, how we play certain games, except that I stream most of it. But she is a delight to watch. Definitely check it out. Especially her Bloodborne playthrough is really good. I've been watching it. But anyway, she did a Discord Q&A recently, a video that I was watching, and that gave me an idea to try out the same thing, because of course people on Discord are like more people that have been watching you for a longer time, so I felt like they might ask different questions than when you just do Ask Twitter or just YouTube. Although of course I'm sure I would get a lot of the same questions, but I wanted to see what was different if I did a Discord one. So let's look at a couple of those questions. What was your first console? That's easy. It was a Nintendo console. I just called it a Nintendo when I was younger. An NES, I guess. I got it when I was 4. I say I got it, but it was basically for all my siblings and I. So it was my brother, my 2 sisters, and me. And I. English is hard. Don't judge me. But we got an NES for Christmas one time when I was 4, and we got Mario Brothers 2 with it. That was the only game we got with it, and I couldn't even play at that point, I tried to play, but I couldn't really play well enough. But my brother was the one who would then beat Mario Brothers 2 after a couple days, I think, and we were like all watching it together, and it was so exciting, and we were all like cheering him on. It was so fun. I definitely remember that, and I think that is a big part of why I continue to love games growing up, because such an early age, such good experiences with games, really like bringing the family together, I think is why I kept loving games. It wasn't until N64 much later on that was my next console, so I skipped SNES. Parents didn't give us anything anything new after the NES until I think I was 11 or 12. I asked my mom if we were to get anything for Christmas, if it was possible that I would get an N64. And she gave me an N64 with Mario 64, and so from there on I played until my hands cramped up. I played for so long. I snuck out of bed at night and played so they wouldn't know, and played until the sun came up pretty much, and my hands were like cramped into the shape of the N64 controller. So yeah, definitely loving games from a young age. If you could only play one game ever again, which game would that be? I actually get asked this question more often, so I kind of have an answer ready. I think it would be Bloodborne, which is not even, I don't even play it that often. Like I've played the main game, I've played New Game Plus once, and then I did all the chalices. So I wouldn't say like I always play it or I play it once a year, like not at all. But I think that's like one of the games that you can just keep playing, and you can just keep doing New Game Plus, or you can do different builds. I feel like that's the kind of game you could get the most hours out of and not get bored with it. Like, I love the Fatal Frame series. I love Shadow of the Colossus, but they are just like they're good to play every now and then, but like, it's just one type of game. You just play it the way it's intended and then it's done. I mean, while with Bloodborne, you can like experiment, do different things, and then do a whole playthrough again. So I feel like Bloodborne would be the game that I would choose if I could only have one game for the rest of my life. Who's cuter, Sean or Luigi? The green one. Favorite series of games? Fatal Frame, for sure, 100%. I played the first game when I was like 14, and I loved it to death. It was so scary, but so beautiful at the same time. And I loved the way the houses looked. The house, I should say, the Himuro mansion. I loved the way it looked, and it was so new to me, like Japanese culture and everything. And then I discovered anime, and that fired my curiosity for the language itself. And then you have like culture and language, and then I decided when I was 17 to go study it. So I went to college. I studied Japanese language and culture, is what the description is of the program I did. I lived in Japan for 2 years while studying it, and then of course you guys also know I started my YouTube channel with Fatal Frame 5, translating it from Japanese to English. So full circle. Started with Fatal Frame, my love for Japan, and then my channel started with Fatal Frame. It's the best franchise. I love it to death. Favorite part, place, or thing about Japan and the Netherlands? Oof, Kelly, hard question. Favorite thing about Japan? What immediately pops into my mind is fiber. I had such good internet in Japan. I had like, what was it? I think it was 75 MB up and down. So it's not even that much, but in Europe, it's 75 up is definitely a lot. Here I have 40 up. At Sean's place we have 10 up. So 75 up was definitely really nice, especially because I stream so much and I have like long videos. It's nice to just upload those in like 30 minutes, which now it takes like an hour and a half, or at Sean's place it takes 10 hours. So that's the thing okay, let's rephrase it. That's the thing I miss about Japan right now, my good internet that I had there. But other than that, I love Kyoto. I don't know if anyone's been to Japan, if you've been to Kyoto. Most people, if they go to Japan, they go to Tokyo first, which is also really, really cool and so fun. It has great buildings, like historical buildings. Also, the newer sections of Tokyo are awesome. But Kyoto is my favorite. I lived there for a year when I was still studying Japanese. I did like an exchange year. And the historical buildings are just so beautiful. There's the Golden Pavilion in Kyoto, and there's the Kiyomizu-dera, which is another temple. The Fushimi Inari Jinja is like a shrine that's like in the mountains, and it has like a whole path with like all those red torii gates back to back. They're just so nice, and I went there so many times when I lived there. I must have gone to each of those places like 10 times at least to just go see it because it's so pretty. What I also really liked about Kyoto is that the Starbucks were open until like 1 a.m. Favorite thing about the Netherlands? My family, first and foremost. Food. I really like the diversity of Dutch food. It's not just Dutch kitchen per se, but like we can just get anything here. So of course it goes for almost all Western countries. Like you can get Italian food, you can get sushi, it's like that. I mean, like in Japan you can find most things, but it always gets like a Japanese style. You know how sushi in America is more like American sushi, like that's what I mean. Like Chinese food in America or in the Netherlands is not Chinese food in China. And I feel like the Netherlands gets it really right. Of course there's a bunch of stuff where they give like a Dutch twist to it, but I feel like Dutch food gets closer to the way it is in the original country. The Dutch sushi. Oh, hi, Phoebe. Hi. Phoebe came to say hi. Dutch sushi is the best sushi that's like closest to what you get in Japan, in my opinion. But I've only had sushi in like England and America, next to Japan, so I don't have that much experience, I guess. But I like the food, I like the variety. So many vegetarian options. I'm not a vegetarian, but I like to eat vegetarian most days. So I really like that. Yeah. Family and then the food, I think. If you could learn a new language other than the ones you already know, what would it be? So I had German and French in high school. So I know a lot of German and French, but I can't quite get the information. Does that make sense? So I had it in high school and I could use it pretty well. Like, I wasn't very good at it, but I had a lot of words in there and how to make sentences and stuff. But then I went to study Japanese, and that was so intensive. Like, it was 6 years full-time studying. I got to a master's. And then because that was so intensive, it kind of just drowned out French and German. So I feel like that knowledge is there, but it's just not at the surface level enough for me to use it. So I don't know, it doesn't really count as a new language maybe, but I would definitely want to try and get those to a better level, or that I can use them in a normal conversation. If not that, then I would say I love Hebrew font. I really like the way it looks, so I would want to maybe learn how to read it. Or maybe Thai. That also sounds really, or looks really cool. It's the same with like why I studied Japanese, because the Chinese characters in Japanese, they're Chinese characters because the Japanese borrowed the Chinese script and then applied it to Japanese. That's why I say Chinese characters. Hi, baby. You want my attention? You want to come cuddle? But yeah, the Chinese characters are also what I loved so much about learning Japanese. It kind of feels like writing in secret code. It's so geeky, I know, but that's one of the reasons I like it. I love writing and reading in different, like, in stuff that's not alphabetical, if that makes sense. If you could live anywhere in the world for the rest of your life, where would it be and why? I really don't mind any place. As long as I'm with the people I like, I can live anywhere. Does that make sense? I'm not really tied to one spot. I've lived in 3 different places in Japan. I've lived in 3 different cities in the Netherlands. I'm about to go live in England. So I definitely prefer Europe over the rest of the world, I think. It makes sense. It's where I grew up. It's where I know the best how to go about things, and it's just comfort as well. So unfortunately, not really any specific place in mind, but as long as it's surrounded by friends or loved ones, then that's the place to be for me. What did they say? Home is where the heart is? That one. You're forced to give up either pizza or Taco Bell. Which one do you choose? I would say pizza, because Taco Bell, I just really like Taco Bell. Although, wait, if I give up Taco Bell, can I still have Mexican food? I know Taco Bell, I know I'm going to offend a lot of people by saying that, but I know Taco Bell is not really Mexican food. It's more like fast food. I know, but like if I give up Taco Bell, can I still have burritos? That's the question. Because if you give up pizza, you give up all pizzas. But Taco Bell is a chain. So in that case, I'll give up Taco Bell so I can still eat pizza and other Mexican food. What was your first tattoo? It was the Shadow of Colossus one. This one. That was the first one. And then I added a shit ton. And I still want more. Do you watch anime? If yes, which ones are your favorites? I actually I haven't watched anime. Oh, wait, how do you say that? I didn't used to watch anime, but I've started again. I watched so much anime when I was a teenager. That was all I would watch. I would download a series, binge watch it, because we didn't have Crunchyroll back then. I would download a whole series, binge watch it like overnight, and then find something else to download. That's basically what I did. I followed Naruto and Bleach for years. Really into those. Cardcaptor Sakura, Sailor Moon. And then I kind of stopped when I went to college. I think I kind of stopped watching around that time. So when I was like 18-ish. Probably sometime then, I think I stopped watching. I kind of just got bored with it, I think. Like it all just became kind of samey. But then now with Sean, my new boyfriend, for anyone who doesn't know, he kind of likes watching anime every now and then, so he kind of got me back into it. We watched Kimetsu no Yaiba, and we are now watching, what's it called? Parasite, which has been very fun. So I'm kind of getting back into it, which is cool. My favorite animes are Sailor Moon, Karekano, His and Her Circumstances in English, and Azumanga Daioh. So the old ones. It's definitely older ones that are my favorites. I also do really like Sword Art Online though, but just the first season. Which new country do you want to visit, if any? I really want to go to China. It's one of those countries that I really want to explore. I feel like it's such a culturally rich country that I really want to explore. But other than that, let's think. Definitely a bunch of places in America as well that I haven't seen yet that I want to visit. But I wouldn't necessarily know them from the top of my head. Just know that I want to explore more than I currently have. I currently only am really familiar with LA and a little bit of Detroit, and I've seen a little bit of Texas. Austin? Is that the place? It sounds like a normal name now, like a person's name. Anyway, I definitely feel like I want to see more of America. And I also really want to see Canada and Iceland. I feel like those countries have really nice nature. Oh, how was dinner? Did you like it? Yeah? Did you just come in to thank me? Did you come in to thank your mommy who feeds you? Yeah? You want to hold the mic? Yeah, you don't want to be held. I'll let you go. But yeah, those places definitely. I kind of just want to see the world. I love traveling. I love going places. There's so many places I haven't seen yet. I definitely want to see more and more places as I get older, for sure. But yeah, top of the list are probably China, Canada, and Iceland. What are you thinking about getting for your next tattoo? Oh, I'm thinking of getting another Resident Evil tattoo. I think I want to get the word fine here with a little heart rate thing, like a heart rate line. So very simple, just a heart rate line, and then the text, like the typewriter font, fine, in all caps. I think that's what I want next. And then maybe a Tetris block, but that one's a maybe. What type of cat is BB? I have no idea. I found him on the streets as a kitten, stray kitten. I heard from someone that there's like a DNA test you can do for your cat. I definitely want to do that. So if that is actually a thing, I would love people to point me in the right direction. I could just Google it. I just haven't done it. But I would definitely be down to do a DNA test to see what breeds BB is made of. I think part of him must be Maine Coon or Norwegian Forest Cat, because that's kind of what he looks like, but not purebred, of course, because he was a stray kitten, so there's no way a pure breed like that would be just found on the streets. But yeah, I picked him up as a kitten, brought him to the vet. The vet was like, oh yeah, just give him these eye drops and you can come back in a couple weeks for these and these shots. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was my cat. If you could travel to any time period, past or future, where would you go and why? I would definitely go to the future. Past is just a scary time for me because like healthcare didn't exist. There's no like medical care. People would get sick and die from like normal flu. I don't think I would want to see anything like that. Inequality, of course, different times. Future though, I would really want to see like just what happens to us as human beings. Like where are we 100 years from now? But where are we like 500 years from now? Are we in space or are we dead? I'm very curious about stuff like that. I would definitely want to see the future. If you were in charge of making Fatal Frame 6, what kind of storyline or ritual would you go with? I really want a Fatal Frame that takes place in a school. I don't know how it would work It might have to be kind of like Fatal Frame 2, where it's like an entire village setting. And then we could do like a school. We could do kind of like Siren, I guess. Kind of make it like a Siren setting. So like it's a village area with a bunch of different buildings. And you could also do a mine section. It totally would be a Siren ripoff at that point. But I really want a Fatal Frame in a school. I really want a haunted school like that. So that would definitely be what I want. I don't know about the ritual though. Just the same as always, just the same as any Fatal Frame. Just make it someone has to be a sacrifice, but they fall in love, so they don't want to die, and then the ritual fails, and bada boom. What has been the best part of your year so far, and why? Best part of 2019? God, 2019 is almost over. Did you know that? It's fucking insane. God, I have no idea. There's so many cool things I did this year. Let's go with just a couple of the best things, not just one. Going to Japan with Sean was really, really awesome. It was so nice to be able to show off my skills, my Japanese skills, and just show them around Tokyo. That was really fun. That's definitely in the top. And then we got to go to Toho Studios and like see the Godzilla stuff. That was really cool. That's definitely one of the highlights. Other than that, this year, Valentine was really, really nice. Valentine's Day, going to Japan, and going to LA for a month was also really awesome. I think those are my favorite parts of this year. What's your guilty pleasure movie you watch over and over? I don't watch them that often. But one of my guilty pleasures is definitely Twilight. I can't believe it, but yes, I really like Twilight. I really like the books. The movie's not that much, but God, yeah, I was a little bit late discovering the franchise, so by the time I got to it, all the books were already out. I watched all of them in like 8 days. It was all I did. I binge read the books. And I fucking loved it. That's my guilty pleasure. What do you do to relax or clear your mind when you're stressed or anxious about something? I would color or game, I think. I love coloring, like coloring for adults. There's these coloring books for adults that you can get, and they're like really intricate and they take a lot of time. I can spend like 3 to 5 hours just on one coloring page. And it really like takes my mind off things, and it's really nice. Another thing I found out that really helps in that way as well is Dark Souls. I haven't done it that much, but I really found out that when I was like socially, especially when there's just too many people and I really like need to like retreat for a second and find myself, the introvert that I am, I found that playing Dark Souls really like forces you to focus on the game because it's so hard and you can't think of anything else. That kind of helps you forget the world, and that in that way, of course, it's stressful to play, but it like helps you get rid of the outside world stress, if that makes sense. Favorite holiday? Christmas! I'm so excited! Christmas is coming! I don't know why I like it so much. I think it's just like a great time. Family gets together, dinner, sometimes presents. In the Netherlands, it's different for each family, but we never really did presents every year on Christmas. It wasn't like a given thing to do. So sometimes presents, now not anymore because we're all old. I'm the youngest kid and I'm 31. So, but yeah, definitely getting together with the family, having a great dinner, all the Christmas music, the Christmas movies that you watch every year. I don't know. There's just something warm and fuzzy about it that I love. What would you say makes for a truly horrifying game? I actually just recently was talking about this, finishing up Alien Isolation. I was talking about that the game is so good because it's not scripted. So for me, what makes a truly scary game is a non-scripted enemy. something unpredictable, something lethal that you don't know what it's gonna do. That's what's scary in a game. Because no matter how good the game is, and another example I then said was Outlast, for example. Outlast is so good, but it's only good the first time. After that, it's so scripted that the second time you go through it, it's like, oh yeah, this thing. Oh yeah, that thing. Ah, okay. And it just like, all the scares just like deflate. Whereas Alien Isolation stays scary each time because the alien is so fucking unpredictable, and even every time you reload a checkpoint, he does something different. So you can just, there's no knowing what he'll do, and that's what makes it so good. So that's what makes a good horror game, in my opinion. Then we get 3 questions about favorite video game or movie villain. The first one is, who's the favorite video game movie villain? Then what Disney villain scared me as a kid? And then a favorite villain. Wow. So much interest in villains. God, I love Maleficent, but just in the original Disney movie. Not like the movies that came later or anything with Angelina Jolie, is it? I definitely love her, the old Disney version. What Disney villains scared me as a kid? I don't think Disney villains ever scared me because I grew up watching like Terminator and Predator and The Thing. So Disney cartoons seem very mild in comparison. Favorite video game villain? God. Oh, Katilio. Katilio from Fatal Frame 1, of course. She's so fucking badass, and you can totally sympathize with her towards the end. Which, of course, makes a good villain. A good villain, in my opinion, is like when they're obviously the bad guy and they will kill you if they get the chance, but there's something about their motivation that makes sense, is what makes them good. So definitely Katilio. That wraps up the questions. This was a super long recording. I hope Kay can just shorten it a good bit to make it not too lengthy and boring. I hope you guys liked my answers to these questions, and thank you so much for 200k subs. That's insane. Yeah, hopefully we can just keep up this trend, and well, not even necessarily. I'm just happy where I am. I'm so lucky that I can just pay the bills with and do this full time with what I'm doing right now, and that's all I ever wanted doing this. Have people to share my love for games with, and make it my job at the same time. Mission accomplished, right? I'm pretty happy where I am, so thanks. I think that's it. I think I'm done. That's the end of the video. Bye.